These are lots of credit card offers. Beware, beware, beware. Hello, welcome, welcome. Welcome to all of our replay viewers. Hello, Theo. Hello, Brooklyn. Welcome, welcome. Okay, keep jumping on. Share it. This is Belinda Rosenblum. I have a lot to talk to you about today. Hello, Digital Visions. Hello, Tawana. Okay. Okay, hello everybody. Let me jump on here and post our link. Hi. Let me know your name if you're just jumping on. I always like to know your name versus just like your Periscope name. So that would be great. Okay. Today, about 0% cards. Okay, so that's on your money. Okay, so they currently, and I find that these can really make a lot of sense when you're at higher rates to the tune of 15%, 20%, 25%, 29%, right? Or even higher. That a debt pay down loan can make a lot of sense. And if you have a lot of little cards that we just need to get rid of, partly why in day 3 under prioritize your debt, I have you list them in priority order, beginning with the lowest value. And like I was so proud of, I think it was Suneda who paid off 5 credit cards last week. Because what ends up happening is that you run the risk then for any one of those cards, if you're late, you have to pay a $30 fee. And that's just crazy. I mean, that can literally be more than your balance on some of these small cards. So I think debt payoff loans can be really fantastic for you. I gave you a few suggestions. I contacted payoff.com and got the 411 on how they work. They work in at least, I want to say 25 or 30 states. They don't work in Massachusetts. They don't work in New Jersey, unfortunately. And then maybe we would head you to prosper.com or Lending Club or Lending Tree, that kind of thing. So, so step 1 of a debt paydown loan can make a lot of sense, particularly in those situations. They also don't kill your credit. I get really concerned when people go to like debt consolidation companies, because usually what those are doing is that they are actually killing your credit in the meantime, because they say, okay, stop paying, we're going to try and settle what we can. And as soon as you stop paying and it starts showing up as a late payment, then what ends up happening is that you start getting dings on your credit report. And I don't want that for you. I want you to really be finding ways to be improving your credit through this process. So I did have a client who did a payoff loan, and she did a payoff loan. We paid off all of her debts except for one, I want to say, that wasn't a terrible rate, and we were close enough that we could just keep paying that. She ended up raising her credit score. This is for creating this payoff loan was one of the reasons, but it raised her score by 96 points. It also helps that she's in this Rich Life Mastery group, and she's really stepped into a place of owning her finances in this whole new way. So that was all point 1, right, is to consider some sort of pay down loan. Yay, Kimberly. Number 2, to transfer to a new 0% interest card. Okay, so on this one, I'm going to go through some of the fine print that you want to pay attention to. And what I did, see if I can find them here. Yeah, so I have my clients send them to me when they have a balance transfer option or a new credit card that they're considering. I always have them scan them in and send them to me. And then I save all the ones that I get. And I literally, you guys, I mean, you probably know that I'm kind of a geek when it comes to this already. But I go through and we actually highlight it for these key terms that that you need to know to be able to decide for yourself if a 0% card is actually a good idea or not. So, and then I star all these ones that are kind of crazy. Hey, Sir Will, welcome, welcome. Some of these terms that I want to make sure that you're paying attention to, and some of them are just really predatory, like they just sort of blew me away. So I'm going to walk you through the basic areas that I want you to be paying attention to, and then some questions that if you can't figure it out, I want you to look to be able to answer the questions from the fine print in the material. And if you can't, then just call up the company and ask them. Because the last thing that I want is for them to do a, hey, welcome, thanks for joining. I don't know how to pronounce it. Let me know what your name is really, Gaius B Girl. So if you can't figure out the answers, then call them if you need to, but I'd rather not have you apply for a card if it's not going to work out anyway. So let me run through. So some of the examples of the fine print that you absolutely need to pay attention to. The first one is the length of the 0% promotional period. I've seen the max about 18 months, but it could be as low as like 6 months. And they are certainly not all created equal. I mean, I pulled a whole bunch, and this is also super interesting. I think I pulled these, and we just pulled like one of each of the ones that I was getting in the mail. So this is like Chase Freedom, okay? And so I had like 3 to 5 from Chase Freedom, and they all, well, several of them had different terms on them. So they all look the same, but you know, I was mentioning that I go through and I like highlight the key terms here. So they had different terms. They looked the same, but they had more, they had different terms. So, so I just want you to get that even the ones that look the same may not even all be the same. So you also have to keep in mind that it can take some time to get approved. So you want to make sure that and for you to get the transfer done. So you want to make sure that it's not such a short period of time that you can't get the transfer done in time. So did the terms get better as they came? No, not necessarily. It's interesting, even though I have a bunch, and I think maybe you guys who were here in the beginning, hold on one second. These are all the offers. Can you guys see this that I pulled? I mean, there's like a ton in this bag of stuff here. And it keeps going and going and going and going. And I mean, I've been keeping them because I knew I was going to be doing this challenge. But there's just a ton. And the major things that would start to change were some of these things on the side, right? So some of them highlight on the side how long the promotional APR goes, what the APR is after the term ends. So let's talk about the fine print, the most important ones. So I talked about the length of the promo period, the interest rate after the promo period ends. That was actually one of the more interesting things that did change over time, that they look the same, but when I looked for that percentage after the 0%, then that varied several percentage points between them. Like there's a 15, there's an 11, there's a 13, there's a 17. That really does differ. And again, you may not get that best rate depending on what your credit is, but you want to at least choose the one that has the lowest starting point that's possible for you. And I've seen ones anywhere from 8.9 to 18.9 myself for after the promo period, but I just was helping my mom, actually. I'm going to share with you at some point, because I did a debt pay-up plan for her. She drank the league with the Ditch Your Debt Challenge, and anyway, I worked out a payment plan for her. She had 27% after the 0% ended. I couldn't believe it. That blew me away. The interest rate on new purchases, and are they subject to the same as past purchases under the promo period? So sometimes if you're at 0%, then even new purchases can be at 0% too during that 6 to 18 months. And what the transfer fee is? It's usually 3% with a minimum of $5, but sometimes it's more than that, and sometimes you can still find a 2%, just less frequently. Must ask questions. How is the interest treated during the promotional period? So most on a credit card is at 0 and it doesn't accrue. So they're not calculating it behind the scenes. For some things though, like furniture stores, even like a Sears or Home Depot used to do this. I haven't had any clients that have done it recently, but the challenge that they have, welcome back Carolina, is that it actually accrues during that time, so that if you're not paying it by the time that your promotional period ends, you actually owe interest for that entire time period. Retail store cards are notorious for this. You want to know how the minimum is calculated each month, because you want to make sure that you can pay the minimum. This is also interesting. With your credit cards, usually your promo period is more like I didn't put this into the notes, but I want to put this in. Usually it's more like 3% of your balance is how they're calculating your minimum. However, on 0% cards, what I've noticed is that they do actually lower the minimum during the promo period. So I saw one yesterday that was at 1%. Now, what's so interesting about this is that if you're at a 0%, a 1% minimum that you are paying during the balance transfer period, promo period, essentially what that means is you will have barely touched that balance by the end of the promo period. So the reason why I think that they lower is that it's really in their favor, because then you have more that will be left over by the time the promo period ends. So be aware of that. How is your money allocated when paying off the balance if you charge new purchases and are carrying an old balance transfer? So I mentioned that as a question you should understand, because generally what happens is that the fine print says that they can apply, how do I say this? That the payments received are applied to the lowest interest rate portions first. So if you have some at 0%, but then you do make some new charges, even if you send them more cash because you want to be paying down the new charges, it doesn't matter. They have the right usually to apply it to the 0%. So the best bet is just to take it out of your wallet and not use it for new purchases. Then you want to look at what the total credit is that's being offered. Thanks for all the hearts, guys. The total credit being offered, because sometimes deals look great, but you're only getting a few $1,000s, like maybe max $5,000, and maybe you need 15. So it might not really do what we needed to do. Then this is another important one. What happens if you're late with one payment? So this is called your penalty APR. Now, often the card issuer immediately cancels the 0% rate and they raise it to a huge, what I consider predatory rate for you. The key here is to automate the minimum and to make an effort to pay more than the minimum with your payoff plan. So here's an example that I had from a client. And so essentially what was happening is she only had 60 days to do the balance transfer. So you need to take a look for that. And then, I don't even think I mentioned that. So let's see, number of months to do. I have a feeling there's going to be a longer debt course here in my future just because I have so much to say about it. And then it was a variable APR of 16.9% after the promo period. But now, okay, so here it is so here's page 1. I'll cover up her name, right? Here's page 1 of her offer, okay? And then here's page 2. Okay, all this stuff. Now, you see how all the way down here there's fine print? So right here, okay, it talks about a variable penalty APR of 29.99%. That absolutely counts as fine print in my book because it's all the way at the bottom. Then there was a section here on the next one. So there's a disclosure summary. That's where you can get a lot of your questions answered in terms of the APRs, the rates you're going to be paying. And then this is where it also mentioned this up to 29.99% with one late payment. What I will tell you is that if that does happen to you, what you might be able to do is you'll get that penalty APR and then you can potentially negotiate it down. So the client that was at 27.24% and then went down to 15%, was, with that 12% drop, it was because the 27.24 had been a penalty APR for her. So when she called, they did actually lower it back. You can look at places like magnifymoney.com and bankrate.com for even some other alternatives to the ones that you're getting in the mail. It doesn't mean that those are the only ones that you have available to you. Some other options. So let me know, just type in if you have any questions about any 0% cards that you may have in your possession, or if you've ever looked at them, if you have any questions for me in terms of, is a 0% card the right move for you or not? So let me know and just type in your question. I'm happy to answer it as I'll keep moving through it because, gosh, time is flying by today. Okay, more options for you, right? So far we talked about a pay down loan, a 0% card, borrowing from friends and family. I personally have done this for a friend. So she borrowed from me and she paid me back at 5%, which was higher than what I was earning in the bank. And what's important in this to really think about when it can be a good idea is if you treat it seriously, right? You can't just blow it off and think, oh, it's to a friend, or oh, it's to my uncle, I don't have to pay it back. If you treat it seriously, and if you make sure that you're paying it every month, and it can be really good, partly because it shows on your credit report as a total pay down. So that's going to be like an off credit report item that you're paying on, but for their purposes, it's showing up as more available credit and less debt owed. So the trick here is to pay consistently and to take it seriously. 4 is generate more cash. This is another one that I literally could spend an entire week of Periscopes talking with you about how to generate more cash. And I do talk a lot about this. I am doing a special webinar next week called Live Your Rich Life. The 3 massive mistakes that keep you under earning, under saving, and overwhelmed, and how to avoid them. So if you're in the Ditch Your Debt Challenge, you do have access to these webinars. Hey, Catherine, welcome for joining. Good for you for joining. And so if you're in the challenge, you're already getting it. If you don't have any debt, but you want to hear about, well, I don't really feel like I'm living this rich life, then join us at ownyourmoney.com/live-rich. And then you can jump in on that webinar as well. So here are some ideas on generating more cash. You could be asking for a raise or a promotion. You could be getting a side gig. You could be selling your stuff. Okay, let's see, what did D say? You have 3 right now. I know 2 you can possibly pay off, the one with the higher balance, which ends in April. So D, let me know what your question is about that. One thing with 0% cards, when I worked at this debt payout plan for my mom, which was really interesting, is that she had a 0% card currently. However, at the end of the period, the promo period, which ends in May of next year, her rate goes up to 27.24%. So even though it's at 0% now, I talked with her about what she can do in the meantime, because I don't want her to have no cash and just I shouldn't say no cash. There is a space where if she's snowballing, because what we essentially worked out is we could pay 2 of her cards off. I want to say it was like over $15,000 within 8 months. And we worked out, I have to pull all the specifics when I walk you through it. But essentially, we freed up like $2,000 a month to be paying off her debt, which is amazing. However, it wouldn't be fast enough to be able to get rid of the debt at 27.24%. So what I had her do was actually to call them now to see if she could either extend the 0% period, lower the rate that's going to happen after the promo period ends, or we might just have to balance transfer that to something else, take what we've snowballed because we paid off these other 2, and by then will actually be 3 cards to then pay down that 0% for a big, sort of all at once, and then we would get rid of that. I want to say it was like 8 or 9 months. So you need to be generating more cash. Sometimes it's just selling stuff in your house, right? And really opening things up, whether it's eBay, Craigslist, there's yard sale groups on Facebook, but just get rid of your stuff. It'll give you a space to really start to welcome in a new sense of abundance. Do credit card companies usually extend the 0% period? Maybe 50-50. I think a lot of people don't ask. I had a 0% card and they did actually extend mine a few months. So it is possible for sure, but you have to ask. If you don't ask, the answer is always no. And on Friday, on day 5, I talked to you about what to say in terms of lowering interest rates. It's kind of a similar process when you're talking with them about extending the 0%. Okay, use the windfalls. So now in this case, when you get a tax refund, a commission, a bonus, some other lump sum payment, don't spend it all on more stuff or even going out and having a good time. Use all of it or use a significant portion of it to fast track your debt pay down. You're welcome, Samantha. Let me know how it goes on our Facebook group if you call and try and extend the 0%. Sometimes you do have to wait until the 0% is about to end. So, within like a month or so, or ending that month, and then you may be able to have them call and have them extend it. Thanks for all the hearts, guys. I'm so glad you're enjoying this. Okay, so if I want to keep it to 30 minutes, I only have about 3 more minutes left. And the last piece is that, of course, you can reduce expenses to create cash, right? I think that, I know there's so much here, Samantha. I totally get it. So people oftentimes just go to this place of scarcity and they only think about, oh, how can I reduce my expenses? And then pretty quickly they think, oh, I can't reduce my expenses because I've done everything I can. And they throw up their hands and then that's it. And then they stop the conversation and they don't end up looking at their expenses. But what I can tell you is that there are money leaks in all of your spending, really because you're not paying quite enough attention to it 98% of the time. You may not have enough awareness when you're charging something on your cards, even your debit card, you're just swiping it. And what we're able to do is to actually start to pay more attention, really look to say, is this important to me? Is this something that I value? And what do I value more? Do I value getting out of debt and living from this place of freedom more than buying this shirt, than even buying food that I'm not 100% certain I'm going to be able to eat this week? And then what happens is it goes bad and people throw out an inordinate amount of food. Maybe it's fast food. I think a lot of people out of convenience will buy prepped food, like prepared foods, even at the grocery store. And that's just way more money. Like you can buy this one little tiny chicken breast for the price that you can buy 4 big chicken breasts that can last you the entire week. Or you can just pay $8 for one tiny little piece. So I much prefer just buying the bigger package, especially on Sunday. You just cook a whole bunch, marinate it, grill it, whatever, bake it, broil it, whatever it looks like for you. But the point is that you are taking control and you're choosing your life and your financial freedom over the convenience in the moment. Okay. So, hey, welcome, Katie. Awesome. You always seem to get on just as I'm about to end, though. So before you take your scissors out, by the way, one more thing I wanted to mention. Just because we have you pay off these cards doesn't mean that you're necessarily cutting them up. If it has a high annual fee, then maybe. But usually I want you to keep the card, have it keep your available credit line, and then, just take it out of your wallet. Like, don't use it anymore. So, okay, what questions do you have? We are at our 30 minutes. Thank you so much. Please feel free to keep sharing this because if you do, then more people can really be informed on 0% cards, why they can make sense and why they really can't. Okay, I'll take a breath. Let me take a sip of water, actually, too. Okay, so let me know if you have any questions here before we wrap up. Okay, that's my 30-minute mark. What questions do you have? Okay, any more questions here on 0% cards, on generating more cash? You're welcome, Samantha. This is so good. I mean, I've done a ton of research. I've been through so many of those credit card offers. Let's see if I pull out some more of the ones that I have in hand. So I read you this one. This one goes up to 16.99%, but you have to make the balance transfer in 60 days. Okay, Katie, if my card is paid off, is it better to not use it or just use it once a month and pay the balance? I'd say, do you have other cards, Katie? If you have other credit cards, particularly, I'd say generally just don't use it. I know, just one card. So Katie, does that mean that you paid off all of your credit card debt? That would be great if that's what it means. Do you recommend having a written contract with family and friends? Thoughts on Chase Slate? Yep. Okay. So, let me see here. Couple questions. I know some experts do say use the card. I don't think that you have to use it every month and show it to pay it off, to show that you're paying it off. If you are trying to rebuild your credit score, then maybe you can try that and just use it once. The challenge is that I find if you're struggling at all with debt, then we just want to get it all paid off. We want to start to generate that cushion savings. And if it's easier for you to work on cash, then do it. Once you pay down all your debt, though, we really can make your credit cards work for you. Like I have cash back cards. I think all of my cards at this point, except for Amex, which I've just had forever, and I don't want to lose that credit history. Hey, On the Go Champion, welcome to our world. I'm Belinda Rosenblum with Own Your Money, and we're going over 0% offers. So here's another one that I have here. So if you need to rebuild your credit, then maybe that can make sense. But generally, I prefer once you paid off your credit to start to look into some cashback cards because I love honestly getting credits on my statement or getting checks in the mail from my credit card companies where they are paying me. I much prefer that flow of cash. So what are some other questions? Chase Slate, I don't know enough about it. I'm going to write myself a little note that I will look into it. Here we go. Okay, Chase Slate. Tell me what the terms are of Chase Slate, and then I can let you know. I use Chase Inc. Is my cashback card, and that one's really good. But I know my friend Farnoosh Tarabi is a big fan of Chase Slate, so that could really make sense. But let me know the terms that they're talking about giving you, and then we'll go from there. So this one, the promo rate was 10.24%. Do I have any Discover card offers? I do in my stash. Oops. I got a lot here, so I'm quite sure I saw some Discover cards in here. It's so funny to me, too, how many of the same cards keep sending me stuff. But we literally in our household get almost one of these a day between me and my husband. 0% for 6 months, 15 months, no balance transfer, Chase Slate. Okay, tell me what that means. 0% for 6 months does not seem like very much. It depends on the purpose that you're getting that card. If you're getting that card solely for the purpose of a balance transfer, I'd rather see you get closer to 18 months than 6 months at the 0% promo period. And then on your question on Discover cards, I would say post it up on our forum. So if you're in, you're welcome, Sarah. If you're in I didn't understand the other thing that you said, Sarah, in terms of no balance transfer, if that was a typo, because sometimes typos, it auto corrects here. So I could have sworn I had some, but I'm not seeing any right now. So I would say in terms of the Discover card offers, I get mostly Chase, Citi, I think because that's where we have our cards now. So we just keep getting more. And they say, well, if you've won with us and you've been paying your bills consistently, then we'll give you more. I mean, I literally have like 10 Chase Freedoms in here. This is really crazy. I feel like they would save so much money if they didn't send me so many offers that I don't take them up on. But I think that they figure they make money with, they probably have a certain number of people that they that will turn them down, and then the one that does ends up paying for everything that makes it worthwhile. So let me know if you have any more questions. Let's see if there's any more. Sorry I couldn't find any Discover offers. Magnify Money can help you weigh different offers against each other, and if you have any specific questions, just post them up on the forum. Once you're in our group, so if you're in the challenge, you signed up at ditchyourdebtchallenge.com, or if you're not, you certainly can. It's a 10-day challenge. We're on day 6 right now, and day 6 is all about the options that you have in terms of payoff loans, 0% cards, and then once you're in the challenge, then I invite you to join my Own Your Money private Facebook group. So this is from Bank of America. This was an interesting one, actually. Let me just show you this, and then we're going to run here. They actually gave me 2 offers. 2 offers really quick. So offer 1 and offer 2. So offer 1 was a lower rate. It was 0%, but it only went through August 2016, whereas offer 2 was 1.99%, and it went through November 2016. Generally, I would imagine that extra 3 months would not be worth even paying 2% interest if you can get a 0% card. But the thing I didn't like about this is that existing balances for balance transfers go to a 9.99% variable APR. Can you ask for lower interest on personal loans with the bank? It's at 10.5%. You'd probably need to renegotiate your loan and open up a new loan. But yes, it is possible to get a lower loan rate if your credit has improved since when you took out that 10.5%. So this one's crazy because those checks that you get, oh my God, I could do a whole Periscope on that too because those drive me crazy. Here are some checks. Oh my gosh, those are so scary to me. A little nuance. Sometimes the checks, like these guys. So these checks, these are for offer 1 and these are for offer 2. So you even have to be careful which checks you use. But this one shows if you existing balances for all transactions completed by using any of the attached checks go to a 22.99% variable APR after that promo period. That is crazy. I would not say do any 0% cards if you're going to go to anything over 20%, because that just robs you. I just think that that's totally crazy. So if you take advantage of this promo offer, you will be charged interest on purchases made with your credit card. So just know that that exists too. So that's why I say take it out of your wallet. Okay, you guys have been amazing. Thanks for staying on with me so long. I know that this is just so important. I really hope that this Periscope records, because sometimes we've been having trouble with that lately. But I think we're actually recording this one live so that we have this really for your reference moving forward. Once again, I am Belinda Rosenblum. I run a company called ownyourmoney.com. If you're not in the Ditch Your Debt Challenge yet, please jump in it. It's at ditchyourdebtchallenge.com. And we are at ownyourmoney.com, and it's really about helping people to step into this place of power and freedom with their money and let go of the shame and the guilt that we hold on to way too much of the time, and debt is usually a key source of that. So jump on into the challenge. If you want to just jump on the webinar with me directly, you can go to ownyourmoney.com/live-rich. And let's get talking about what offers you have. Jump into the group and let me know. Day 5, which was Friday, I did talk a lot about lowering the rates on your current card. So go back and watch that Periscope and watch the video and the email lesson you can read as well. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Have a wonderful day, and I'll talk with you soon. Thanks for all the hearts. Thanks for joining. Let me know if you have any last questions here before I wrap this up. Yay. Thanks, guys. Okay, no more questions. I'll look on the Facebook group later on today. No problem. Bye. Have a great day. Thanks for all the hearts. Keep owning your money. If you don't own your money will own you. So own your money.